Hi there, it's Lori, and I'm here with a story before, oh, I forgot to change my glasses. Okay, and my story has to do with traveling. I've been sitting here debating on on which story to tell, but since it involves, the throwback involves a trip to Washington, D.C., we'll tell that story, a travel story. Okay, so I don't know if I've ever told this on the channel. So when my husband and I got married, in 2016, we flew out the next morning on our way to, wait a second, was that trip or was that yeah, it was our honeymoon. Yeah, sorry. I was fact checking myself there. Anyway, so we were flying, and we didn't have seats together, but we were in the same row. So we thought, maybe somebody would work it out for us. But it was just for the flight to Washington, D.C. I believe it was Dulles was the airport, and not Dallas. So Dulles. I know. So Washington, D.C. And then on connecting on to Dublin, and then we were renting a car, and he was driving there because I don't drive on the other side of the road. I don't know how to do that, and I'm not the best driver in the world anyway. So anyway, we were renting a car once we got to Dublin. So on the flight from DC to Dublin, no problem. We had seats together. But to Dulles or to DC, Washington, DC, we just couldn't. Can I just start calling it double crochet? Washington double crochet? Just kidding. We didn't have seats together. And so we thought we're in the same row. Maybe we can make it work. Okay. So we get on the plane. My husband asks if there's anybody that's willing to trade seats, so that we could sit together, and so that my wife and I can sit together. And here's the funny part. Well, one guy was unpleasant. We'll just say that. No, I'm not moving. Okay, that's fine. But another guy said, I'll sit with your wife. Like, are you kidding me? But yeah, it was funny. And nobody traded seats with us. So luckily that's only a 2.5, maybe 3-hour flight. It's whatever. I was exhausted because we flew the next morning after the wedding. And so, well, yeah, I think I kind of slept. Most people have told me they would have kept getting in and out of that middle seat constantly and driven the unpleasant guy crazy for being unpleasant about it. The window seat person in that one was already asleep when we got on the plane, or appeared to be. So, all right. Yeah, there you go. And he even said it the way I said it. So I'm not like, it's not like, oh, I'll sit with your wife. No, he was being funny and a creep at the same time. So that's what this is. Now, for a change, I have the physical item. This is the bag you're going to see. Again, I was a fairly beginner crocheter. I believe this is the first bag I made. I made this the night before because I decided I wanted a travel size bag that I could just, that would be easy to carry around and like close to my body and whatever. So I made this. It does have a button. I sewed it on the inside because then I can just slide it through this double crochet here. And then it's got a button. Now, it turns out these holes were a little bit large I had to be careful what I put in there. I kind of wish I would have just done the holes up here. I will look and see if I know whose pattern this was, but knowing me at this particular time, it was probably Bag a Day crochet, but if not, hopefully I posted it on one of my Facebooks where I actually gave the information, because I couldn't tell you hook size or anything like this. I can tell you what yarn this is. This is the Just Cotton from the Dollar Tree back when it was $1. the reason I put just cotton in quotes, it's Premier Just Cotton, is that it's not just cotton. It's 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. So it's not just cotton. I know that's their tag, the just, but come on. It's not just cotton. All right. So I will, you know what? I won't even do my typical way that I do it. Since I have the item, I like basically never have the item. Oh, and also notice I used a shoestring as my drawstring because, that's what I had handy. I had an extra one. So that's what I did there. And so this pretty much held my wallet, my sunglasses, Tylenol just in case. Oh, this was a different trip. Let me explain though. This was made for a trip where we were actually going to Washington, D.C. I went to Washington, D.C. with my husband for Police Week. What year was that? 2022. 2022 was my year of travel. Oh my goodness, I traveled so much. So much. I don't typically fly a lot, but that year, whew, I flew a lot. This was at that point was this my second or my third flight that year? Because I had one in 2021 at the end. So I think this was my second flight in 2020. 2022. And then I had two more. I'm not that much of a traveler. Anyway, so I was going to Washington, D.C. I wanted something that I could just, like I said, keep, like I could almost put under my shirt. I know a lot of people do that to like keep it more protected. I just wanted something. I didn't want a big bag, heavy, all that stuff. I just wanted something simple. And like I said, it held my, by then I had migraines, so it definitely had headache medicine in it at all times. And anyway, that was really cool. I'll tell you about that trip. I'll see what pictures I can insert from that trip too. That'll be fun. Yeah, I'll do that. I got to actually go on a White House tour. That was cool. But the extra special thing that I got to do because of my husband being there in the honor guard for Police Week, they got to do a Pentagon tour. So that was a very interesting experience because you had to like put your cell phone in these little lock boxes that like blocked all the signal because they talked about how some intelligence had, I was trying to take a face dive there. It had been like they'd figured out how to track people's phones and Fitbits and smart watches and that kind of stuff in enemy territories. So, and that was again way back in, that's not that long ago, 2022, but still. It was almost 4 years exactly because, so sorry, it was May of 2022. But like I said, I needed a little bag. But yeah, the White House tour, my husband had honor guard duty, so he didn't get to do that. And so I just went with some of the other spouses and then people from the sheriff's office that weren't in the honor guard. So it was cool. I don't know what part is the public tour part. So I think the West Wing, but I genuinely don't remember. And it had to be a certain day at a certain time. And obviously clearance. We had to have way more security clearance to do the Pentagon tour. So, which is fair. You should. The Pentagon tour also had, they have a chapel where a plane hit it on 9/11. And all the names of the people impacted at the Pentagon that day. And the tour guide explained one of the reasons or problems that they discovered in that process with what happened that day. Thankfully, it was in a spot on the Pentagon that not as many people were in, but either way, they discovered it taught them a lot about things that they needed to fix, and they had to do a bunch of construction. And I won't go into any details. But things that we got to talk about, or that they talked about, was different files, case files, I guess you'd have on spies and double agents. Like it's all like there in the Pentagon. This is all; those were all spies that were deceased. Is all that you could, and you didn't, of course, get to learn any of the real specific stuff. But it was interesting. And it was a very cool experience, and I'm very glad I got to do that. But yeah, one night bag, I would say it took about 2 hours, and it would probably take me less now. Like I said, I took and sewed this button on the inside. It's just sewn on with thread, and then I just kind of pick whichever set of double crochets is close, and then I can button it. So great bag, great trip. I'll put a couple pictures in. And with that, I'll put some pictures in after this, but I'll go ahead and do this this now. Thanks for coming in. Can I get a name in? Hugs from me, my potato head. Hugs from me, whatever kind of hug you need. Even if it's I will hug you from a distance. Because, there. I'm a little bit prickly. Or you just don't like hugs, which is fair. I didn't used to care for them all that much. But, people have reasons that they feel that way. I had reasons. It wasn't actually the contact. But anyway, now I love to hug you virtually is the best, right? Because then you can accept whatever kind of hug you need. I think that's it for my throwback. So yeah, throwback to a trip. I'll put in, like I said, I'll put in 2 or 3. I just have to make sure they're just pictures of me and or statues. Statues, no. Monuments, whatever I took pictures of. I'll put 4 or 5 in there, and I'll show you. I'll put a picture of that in there. But you've seen it like this. And again, it's just made of just cotton, which I don't know if Dollar Trees sell anymore, and they definitely sell it for $1.25, and it is less yardage. Because I remember when it was $1, you got 109 yards. I know it's not that much now. I know it's less, and it costs $1.25, I think. At least it's Premier yarn, but you can't get that Dollar Tree just cotton anymore. I haven't been able to find it anyway. All right. It's me being me. Bad at saying goodbye. I just want to remind you that you matter and kindness matters. Bye.